Meeting call to order. Please rise for the national anthem.
Please remain standing for the four-way test. Please repeat after me. Of the things we think, say, or do,
The things we think, say, or do,
is it
is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all?
Friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Evening all. Have you settled? Okay, we are beautiful gathering here. Very colorful with all ages. Thank you so much for responding so well. Road tractors also are here at a very, very short notice. I assure all of you, you will be gaining a lot out of this meeting, and thank you all. Thank you, President Ansh, for responding so positively, and I think he will be joining soon as also. So welcome all of you for this wonderful gathering. Uh, First of all, I would like to welcome today's chief guest to the dais, Dr. Pragya Yadav. Please come. There is a wonderful beginning of a new era in our club membership as well, and this has been going on our minds for since the time we met Dr. Yadav at the conference, and I would not like to waste too much of time because there is a lot to learn and from a better person. So I would also like to just before I hand over to the today's MOC, um, Dr. Yadav was, I should say junior, to our own senior member, Vinata.
Same PhD advisor.
Sorry.
Same PhD advisor.
Same PhD advisor, okay. And I think she just took a voluntary retirement, and that's the reason. So she was very happy to know that we are inviting Dr. Pragya. So very happy to be the reason for both of you to meet at the same place. So I would hand over the next proceedings to today's MOC without any further ado.
Thank you, President Sadhya. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you for this special gathering where we have the honor of hosting, inducting, and recognizing India's distinguished scientist, Dr. Pragya Yadav. The unprecedented challenges that the world faced during COVID-19 pandemic are still fresh in our memory. During that time, while most of us were navigating the uncertainties of the lockdown, a dedicated group of scientists were working tirelessly behind the scenes, not only in India, all over the world, studying the virus, developing vaccines, and guiding public health strategies. And in India, Dr. Pragya Yadav is one such COVID warrior. So, friends, let me begin by introducing her to you. Uh, as I said, she's a very eminent virologist, senior scientist at ICMR National Institute of Virology, Pune. She has a bachelor and master's from Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, Awadh University in UP, and a PhD in virology from Savitribai Phule University, from our Pune University. And she was trained in the US to set up Asia's first biosafety level 4 laboratory. Just to tell you that biosafety level 4 is the one, even Wuhan was one such laboratory. And this is perhaps the first one in Asia which she was trained to set up. Her expertise is in zoonotic high risk pathogens like Ebola, Zika, COVID. There are a lot more. May not be very familiar with the names, even many scientists are not familiar with those names, but zoonotic normally means something which is transmitted between animal and the human, the viruses. So she was instrumental in isolating the SARS-CoV vaccine, the SARS-CoV virus, and conducting the preclinical studies for India's first indigenous COVID vaccine, that is Covaxin, which was developed by Bharat Biotech, and ZY COVID D, that is by Zydus Cadila. So I think that there are two different types of vaccines. One was a DNA vaccine, right? So in her current role, she is director in charge of National Institute of One Health in Nagpur. So these One Health, One World, our Prime Minister has been advocating a lot to build up India's resilience against various sectors. So she is the first director of this institute. It has been recently established, and she oversees the biosafety level 3 and 4 laboratories infrastructure all over there. She is seeing the development under the PM Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. And as expected, she has a lot of awards and recognitions. So, just to name a few, she received the Major General Sahib Singh Sukhoi Award from ICMR in 2017, Dr. Vinod Kumar Bhargava Award by National Academy of Medical Sciences 2021, Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Award by the Ministry of Culture in 2022, and the Vigyan Yuva Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award in the Medicine category 2024. She is the first woman among ICMR scientists to receive this honor. And she has a lot of global recognitions as well. She is listed among the top 2% of scientists globally by Stanford University and Elsevier Publications. She has collaborations with organizations like WHO, CEPI, all international organizations. Her professional affiliations: she is a fellow of the Indian Virological Society, fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, fellow of National Academy of Medical Sciences. So I think from wherever you get the award, they give you the honorary fellowship, as we are going to do today as well. She is on the personal side. She is married to Colonel Sanjay Kumar. He is a neurosurgeon and commanding officer at 190 Military Hospital, Siachen. He was also representing the country at UN, right? At some stage, they have two children. They were to come here, and I'm sure by the end of the program we should be able to see them in grades 12 and 10. And her father, he was a government servant who championed for girls' education and established schools in rural Uttar Pradesh. And she is the only sister among four brothers. So friends, you can see that Dr. Pragya has achieved a lot at this young age, and it's because of her dedication and strong backing of the family. She is well supported by her in-laws also, her father and mother-in-law. And the father-in-law is a naval officer, he is now retired. So, in recognition of her outstanding achievements, the President and Board of Directors of Rotary Club of Pune Sports City are pleased to offer honorary membership to Dr. Pragya Yadav. And to do these honors, they now invite our membership director and charter member, past President Rotarian Trilok Kamdar, to induct Dr. Pragya into our club. Over to you.
Good evening, friends. First of all, I'd like to say about Rotary. Rotary is a global network of service and action. Rotary is a global organization of 1.2 million members across 45,000 clubs in 166 countries, dedicated to creating lasting change locally and globally. For over 120 years, Rotary has tackled issues in core areas of literacy, peace, health, polio, water, economic development, and environment, staying committed to the world's most pressing challenges. Rotary's legacy and motto, founded in Chicago on 23rd February 1905 by Paul Harris, along with Sylvester Steele, who was a coal dealer, then Gustav Loher, mining engineer, and Hiram Sori, merchant tailor. Rotary's first meeting set the foundation for a global movement. The motto of Rotary is service above self. The greatest reward comes from serving others. The mission and vision of Rotary. Rotary aims to serve others, promote integrity, and advance goodwill and peace through a network of leaders. Our vision: together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change globally, in our communities, and within ourselves. Rotary's approach: see differently. A multidisciplinary perspective helps us see challenges in unique ways. Think differently. We apply leadership and expertise to social issues and find unique solutions. Act responsibly. Our passion and perseverance create lasting change. We make a difference locally and globally. Our members drive impactful projects. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Rotary values diversity and welcomes individuals from all backgrounds fostering and Rotary values diversity, fostering an inclusive environment regardless of age, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic status. Rotary membership. Membership is by invitation, connecting professionals dedicated to giving back. As a member, you will address community needs and develop solutions, connect with leaders making a difference, enhance leadership and professional skills, build friendships and networks. Now, coming to honorary membership, you have been referred by Dr. Suresh Beri, that is Dr. Pragya. You have been referred by Dr. Suresh Beri and approved by the Board of Directors for honorary membership due to your leadership and commitment to service. Your presence strengthens Rotary's mission. Now I'll give you the oath. So just raise your right hand. Since you have expressed your desire to accept the invitation to join Rotary World through our club, please raise your right arm. And will you please solemnly affirm to abide by the Constitution and bylaws of Rotary, Pune Sports City and that of Rotary International, to attend meetings regularly and support the club in all its undertakings, to contribute your fair share of time, money and efforts, to help the club by serving on committees where your efforts are needed, to practice the ideals and objects of Rotary. Now I request our President Rotarian Sadhna to induct you by putting the Rotary leopard pin on you as a Rotarian and member of the club of the Rotary Pune Sports City and present the Rotary folder. Please wear this Rotary annual always and with pride.
Don't we look like two sisters from two different mothers? तुम मेरे में खो गए थे एक ब्रेनी एक नॉर्मल
Fellow Rotarians, I have great pleasure in presenting you Rotarian Pragya Yadav. Thank you all for being present for this prestigious event. Thank you, President Rotarian Sadhna, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, PP Thelok, and welcome PRID Mahesh and past President Amita. Rotarian Pragya, welcome to the Rotary family.
Thank you so much.
I now request Dr. Suresh Bedi to join Dr. Pragya on the dais. Friends, I'm sure you are eager to know more about our new member. So we now move to the Know Your Rotarian session as is customary for our club. And this Rotary is going to be conducted by the very perfect expert from our club, a key figure in vaccine development and head of polysaccharide division at Serum Institute of India, a national awardee and former WHO expert panel member for vaccine standardization. Dr. Suresh Bedi, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Rupinder, and Dr. Pragya. It's a pleasure to have you here. Before we start our discussion, I would like to have a video clip from the movie. From the movie Vaccine War. So please watch this video carefully because there are two questions hidden in the video. So you will have to find out the question and ask her. Okay? So be careful. Okay? So that you should not lose the marks. So Max.
Government duty करूँ भाई, ये देखो। rocket के virologist, I did virologist हूँ, कौन सा science होता है? कोरोना जानते हो ना वायरस, उसका इलाज हम लोग ढूंढ रहे हैं। बेवकूफ बना रहा है साला, क्या कर रहा है? इधर अमर का चल चल ना, you can't misbehave like that. उसका वन समझ नहीं आ मुझे, हेलो तुम तो सुनो, मैं मुर्गा बन गया था, आप इतना गुस्सा क्यों हो रहे हैं? उठे बैठे कर तब चल घर से बाहर नहीं निकलना बस, समझ नहीं आती बात एक बार में, सब मरेंगे, देखना सब मरेंगे।
So can anybody guess the question? Okay, so let's not waste the time. Actually, if you see the ICMR, so many of us don't know what is ICMR, though it is one of the very premier organization in India, and another is virology. So we were not aware of the virology and the vaccines before the COVID came. So people got aware. Now we are all through Google. We are well educated. But I would request Dr. Pragya to please explain the role of ICMR in India and how did he choose? Because she is from Faizabad, did her BSc, MSc, and then came to Pune. So what fascinated her to choose virology? Because people are not exposed to this field in the graduation and post-graduation level. So what do you?
First, I would like to thank you nominated me for Rotary. That is really great honor that you recommended, and this particular Rotary has accepted. So first, I would like to thank the president of Rotary and Dr. Suresh and entire team for this honor. Indian Council of Medical Research is one of the organization which is now almost 100-year-olds, and the story goes way back even before we got freedom. The ICMR was existing, and under ICMR we have done a lot of research. If you name any viral disease, prevention, treatment, or vaccine policy, everything come under the umbrella of ICMR. And if I talk about the National Institute of Virology, Pune, which is within the Pune and very much attached to the VJ Medical College. And this institute was established by Rockefeller Foundation before freedom. And some of the old staff, they hired only very highly educated technical team. So people used to say even the technician used to speak so well English before the freedom. So that was another level of standard they set in the past. And then we have a very good leadership in the past, which led to this institute become not only the country's but Asia's one of the very highly recognized virology institute. And we are collaborating center for WHO for many viral diseases, infectious, emerging, re-emerging diseases, and this kept growing. When Dr. Ganguly became Director General, he came with thought that this institute should have a highest containment facility, which was a BSL-3. Then I'm talking about 1978. So they had this plan, and they purchased a land near to the Pashan campus, and it was kept for a long time. Dr. Ganguly came and he came up with thought that we should have a containment facility, and it became India's first BSL-3 facility. And that was just a kind of a time, and now we are every year we hear so many different weird name of viral diseases, and you always heard the news that this virus is detected, that virus is detected. Recently in news you must have heard about the GBS disease, Zika viral disease, influenza virus, and so on. So the war between human and disease will keep going. So there is a requirement always to have a better preparedness and better medical setup. More important, the cure and therapeutics. And this thought actually, in the past, it was very diffuse. Many times people were not aware. Maybe that there was a team who are doing work. But I can see now, accumulatively, we can see a complete picture where we are having alignments of industry, public resources, medical structure, and everybody is now trying to come together to address the need of the country. And I think this is a very good kind of start, the dream which we are seeing the Viksit, our developed country as India. So that is how I put it ICMR and IB's role in public health today.
Because there's a WHO, you have to monitor the disease burden in India, and then you have to report to the WHO what are the burdens. Even in every country, so WHO has their centers, and ICMR report to the WHO whatever the development related to health and issues there. So that is a big role of the ICMR. Because why I asked this question, because once I was in Pawar Public School and I was giving a motivational speak. So I asked, have you seen NCL? People in Pune have not seen NCL. And if I ask you, all of you, we live in Aum, and there is a written CSIR NCL. If anybody can explain what is the CSIR? Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and it was started by the efforts of Sir C.V. Raman. The first, it was a department of science and technology, then became a council, it became little later. First, it was a bureau. So, India is doing a lot of work in science, and we have a very good scientist. So, right now, we will not go into that debate. So, now, Moise, can I have the next video? So, just to show you the BSL level 4 facility. And of course, the role is played by somebody else, but the question is related to that role.
Actually, this is played by our own scientist, Dr. Sri Lakshmi, but they have shown the face of.
Yeah, the previous name, yes, missed. So this is a BSL level 4 laboratory.
This is a whole question.
So this is what I So this is Dr. Pragya.
Succeeded in isolating the virus. Congratulations. I have.
So can you tell your excitement? And actually she danced. So I asked this same question in the conference because I could not play this video over there. It was not downloaded. So Moez helped me. So we did it over here. So you just tell us what your excitement level when you isolated the virus and you admitted that you really danced in the lab. So over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. So this is a clip when we isolated the SARS coronavirus and India became fifth country in the world. And people have this question: the virus which have threatened to everybody. Why we are so happy we got the virus? Because in industry of development, you need to have the pathogen if you want to do preclinical study, you want to develop the vaccine, if you want to do anything actually. And this virus become gold mine for us because we could do everything in India because of the virus. So, and we tried for loss. So when the Wuhan cases came, the first 3 cases, so in classical virology, because now my colleague is here, she will understand. So as soon as you detect the pathogen, even many times you don't know which pathogen is there, but you try to propagate them in the laboratory setup. And once you have the pathogen, you can develop antibodies, you can develop assays, you can develop antiviral assays. So to develop anything to cure the disease, you need to have the pathogen in hand. And we try to isolate the virus from first 3 cases to constant month. We tried multiple cell cultures, all animal models. We had so many meetings with so many experts who work on animal model, tissue culture. We purchased very costly cell culture because China claimed that if you do this particular lung cells or this cell that, so we purchased in that crisis when lockdown was going on.
And actually, sorry, it's an intellectual property. So you cannot transfer from there. You have to buy. You have to pay heavy royalty to them, and
Yes.
for whole of your life. So it is their intellectual. It's a property. It's the IP.
Yes, exactly. So then finally, then we failed very badly. So then we realized something is going wrong. So the samples were not appropriate, cold chain was, and more important, the cells which we were reading literature, because China published some literature and say that if you use this culture, you can grow the virus. But actually, it was not working, and that was a lesson. 2, 3 things which we learn in this process, that don't believe what is coming in the COVID. Everything is not true. So
If you can explain the cell, because they will sell battery cell. So please explain the cells to them. So it's.
I'm talking about this. So the cells are made with the different vertebrate and invertebrate tissues.
Tissues.
So, for example, kidney, lungs, we can use those cells and grow the cell culture, monolar cell culture in the synthetic media. So finally we went back and the classical virology cell, that Vero cell, which is derived from a monkey kidney cell. We thought, okay, let's go back to the classical virology, try from our view of and then rather legally. And finally we got successful. And this was the month of March when we detected the Jaipur. There was a tourist came from Italy. There was 18 tourists who roam around the country, and then actually they spread the infection in Delhi and Jaipur. So we got isolation from that, but we prefer to have the isolation from Indian population because you don't want to have, because every virus will also carry some kind of host tissue cells, some immune things. So we wanted to have, so though we got many isolation, but we pursued with the isolate which we got from Indian person, and that was the isolate which we use for vaccine and doing so much, and we grow those viruses in liters to make the ELISA kits and so on. So this was a journey, the beginning of journey just for the isolation, and that taught a lot of lessons as a scientist in our field as well. Thank you.
So just coming to the cells first there is a controversy related to the cells. The first cell line, it's like a human kidney cell or that was isolated from a lady, a black lady in Africa. It's a HeLa cell line. So it became a controversy because that lady died. She was 33, 35-year old, a cancer patient, and these are the cancer cell lines. So they never die. And the family claimed because they were not taken the consent. So even if you have to isolate cell line from any organism or living person, so you need a consent. So now human kidney embryo cell lines are also available. So there are various types of cell, monkey, Vero cell line, the green monkey cell line. So these cultures you have to multiply, and they are all intellectual properties. You have to buy them. Okay.
So just to add to NIV, we have Dr. Singh was there in NIV in the past, even our forefather, I can say, in NIV. He developed the world's first mosquito cell culture using the Aedes cells. So that was actually first. So NIV has expertise even in the developing the cell culture from human bats or any species if we wish to. And in the past, actually, we had a very full-fledged tissue culture whose job was only to develop. But we also store large number of cells which can be utilized in an emergency like COVID. So if we need to do research, we need to do some kind of work, we can just revive them. They are frozen, kept in minus 186 degree, and then whenever required, we can just revive them and call back to the light to work. So that's.
So now coming back to the COVID vaccines, once you isolated the virus, how confident you were that you will be able to inactivate or you will be able to attenuate it? So can you tell us, so what type of procedure did you follow so that it should become a vaccine? Because
So-
vaccine, just a moment, let me explain you the vaccine. So vaccine is either the inactive virus or it's an attenuated virus when multiple times it is grown and it loses its virulence. And then either some isolate of the virus or a bacteria is used. It is never a live virus because it will multiply and it will be as dangerous. So that's why. So now please explain how did you manage to inactivate and confirm that it is inactivated and the vaccine will be safe and efficacious.
So, wonderful question. So, just for audience, you mentioned about the live, but polio is a live attenuated vaccine.
Attenuated. It's
Yes,
attenuated.
attenuated, where we try to modify the virus in a way that it cannot be toxic or creating any pathogenicity to the host when it is given. But when we started talking about the vaccine, initially when we talk about vaccine, everybody say work on antiviral because in the case of HIV, antiviral become very useful. But slowly we realized that the kind of numbers we are growing, and then it was already declared as a pandemic potential virus of international health emergency. So there was a question what we should make it, which can be given if it is proportionally expand in India. India's population is a very high, and a disease like COVID, if it spread, then what will happen? So we had a discussion among the team, and there was so many options. Like you all had heard, I can just messenger RNA vaccines, Pfizer vaccine, Moderna vaccine. Dr. Suresh Serum Institute made one of the highest successful Covishield vaccine.
It was Stefan Chodex.
Adenovector vaccines. So, we started in NIV, when we started discussing with the headquarters, they said everybody got agree that what vaccine we should take up, which can build trust and which can be easily available to the market. And there was already a vaccine race started. Many countries were making the vaccine. China also actually declared their inactivated vaccine with the alum. So then everybody got angry that if we make inactivated vaccine, which has a lot of trust and it has less any controversial issue, that will be easier. And then Bharat Biotech came in the picture. They requested for collaboration and we could work with them for this vaccine. So this was about the vaccine which I was mentioning.
Thank you. So now next question is, so since you are a part of many organization and also SAPI, SAPI is Co-Alliance for Epidemic Preparedness Initiative. So how is India's preparedness after the COVID pandemic? So how we are prepared as a India, as a nation, that we can tackle any future disease which will spread, or any pandemic comes, or any epidemic comes. So what is our preparedness?
So regarding the pandemic preparedness, before this pandemic, there were many actions government was taking, but COVID actually showed a lot of gaps in our system, and there was the biggest gap which we could realize that we are working in faction. Somebody is working on human health, somebody is working on animal health and environmental sciences, and everybody, if we look at the data, all the diseases are emerging from the wildlife, and wildlife is not at all connected with any of the health issue. So these were the some of the factor, and not only India but internationally people accept this fact that there is a gap. Then there is a very high level committee which is called PM CETAC. PM CETAC committee is chaired by PM itself, Prime Minister, whoever is the Prime Minister, and currently it's chaired by Prime Minister Modi. And on his place, Dr. Ajay Sood, who is Principal Scientific Advisor, he lead this entire team for making all the decisions. And in the July 2022, they came up with the decision that we should do something better for the country for the future pandemic preparedness, and they came up with the plan to have the national One Health mission, and that we should lead bridging the gap between all the ministries of the sciences, including you name any. So then they came up, they invited all the secretary, they had lot of discussion, and this message was given that we should have this national One Health mission, which is going to drive the agenda to bring the harmony and bridging the gap between all the ministry. And we should, most of the time, because we are not talking to it, we do a lot of duplication, or we are making same efforts which somebody has done 10 years back. So now this actually initiative, initially everybody thought it's not going to work, it's not going to be functional, because we have a tendency of not accepting the change. But this message was given so many times, everybody realized no, it has to be done. And now, now it's actually a very good momentum is now there. All the departments has accepted, and in this process, ICMR was making one health institute in Nagpur, and then our recent DG, he said this institute can be dedicated to NOHM. This is National One Health Mission. So this is called as National Institute of One Health, and the institute will drive the agenda of NOHM across the region. They have the cabinet has sanctioned fund also, that the fund will be there, and now all the project which we are sanctioning in the site, the first condition, it should be multilateral. So you should involve all the stakeholders, and you should address a kind of a complete coverage of health. It should not be disconnecting from human health or something. And if you are talking about the surveillance, surveillance should cover the human, animal, environmental surveillance. And by all these, even if you are doing research and development, that should address not only the human disease but also animal diseases and the healthcare policies and everything. So now we need to look at a bigger picture as a country, so that after 10 years, 20 years, we can see a better India. We should have a country where we can forecast everything in advance. Most of the time, when the outbreak happens, we have a tendency to run, and then we try to do the firefighting. But actually, the government is planning to do a system which should not be firefighting, but it should be prepared, and that actually preparedness will help not only the saving life but lot of economy and other. The same time, it also give an opportunity to develop new equipments, new treatments, and most important, the SEPI, as you mentioned. SEPI, actually, SEPI is one of the largest organization of funding which is promoting the agenda of vaccine, making vaccine. and they came up with this beautiful thought of develop vaccine in 100 days, which was impossible. When we started journey of vaccine, people said 15 years is the timeline of vaccine, and everybody was like, how will this be reduced? But it was demonstrated actually prior to pandemic also, when the Zika international health emergency happened, it was demonstrated that we can make vaccine in a shorter time. But because of so lengthy process of the approvals, multiple engagement of agencies, hard copy deposition, it became very impossible. In the COVID, when there was no option, all the national, international lockdown to stop everything, people went in a digital mode and everything went to the email and social media platform. Then the complete process became faster, and it was everybody was forced to do it. There was no timeline of 24 hours, day, night, Saturday, Sunday. So people also realized that things can be faster, and I think then this concept of 100 days of CEPI was like that you develop a candidate within very quick time, like messenger RNA can be developed in 2 days, as fast it you can develop, and then you can complete the preclinical, which is a small animal study. So you have your candidate ready in within a month, and then you can do the preclinical study with a very small number of people, and then you can showcase this product. You can keep aside, and whenever there is a bigger emergency or outbreak happen, you can deploy them immediately. So this concept, which was thought it can never happen, now it is accepted worldwide, and WHO came up with the thought of developing call. So they went ahead and they did this prioritization of disease. Each family of viral or bacterial family, they choose one priority disease, and each priority disease will have one candidate vaccine. And every so the India as a part of WHO is working on paramyxoviruses, where we have influenza viruses, Nipah viruses, Hindra viruses. They are very some of the high pathogenic viruses, and every country will work and find out one candidate. So I know this lot of technical thing which I am telling you, but I'm sure the feeling of
No, but
the
it is
message
very informative. So it
you
gives a
will get.
confidence to the common man that they are in the safe hands. Because SEPI is an organization with a headquarters in Norway. Mr. Adar Poonawalla was the board of directors and executive director of it. So they fund a lot of projects where the disease is not even there, but it is they give funding to develop the vaccine and keep the stock, and it will go out down the drain. So a lot of vaccines have been prepared, and they just thought if there any epidemic comes, so it can be used. So chikungunya is one such vaccine. The development is going for many years. There are companies they have funded two European countries, 22 or 23 million dollars they have given to for the clinical trials and all those things. So there are organizations which are thinking beyond what is today. So that is what, and she is a member of it in the panel of the city.
So one more point I would like to. So the pandemic also raised one very important question, that most of the time all these development happen in the developed countries, where they hold all the time. They will hold all the stocks, and the people who are suffering it never reach to them. So that point has been raised again and again, and I think that is now getting
No, it's been
resolved.
taken care. So,
Yes, exactly.
African countries, they were very agitated that they were not getting the vaccine. So, ASPEN is in South Africa. So, WHO has started an initiative, ASPEN. So, which even Serum is also doing the technology transfer. So, a lot of other organizations. So that they are making a manufacturing hub over there. So that if any such case of COVID comes again, so world is prepared. So one world is the concept is going on. Even
Yes.
WHO, WHO is under One Health program. It is going on at a very massive scale.
So there was one very, so India started vaccine Mitri, but Gavi alliances, which was the international alliances of all the people who have the vaccine, they shared to the country who don't have vaccine. So that was the first time such movement was initiated, which was never happened in the past.
Okay, so now coming to you have received many awards. So which one you cherish the most?
Sorry.
You have received many awards from Government of India and very recently, from the President of India. So which one you cherish the most?
So I think there's a lot of national award which I received, and the first award at the national level I received from Health Minister in 2017, which was really one of the I think it's a very happening moment. But the receiving something from President of India was totally we cannot describe in the word. more importantly, there is a story behind. So I applied for the award, and then suddenly this award he used to call in the past with a different name, and then suddenly that all the government of India stop all the awards of the scientific category in 23. So that everybody was very disappointed that what is this now, they don't want to give awards also. So they stopped 300 awards because this PSA office, then they regulated this new category of award, and these awards are as equal as a Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and all. So they came with the category of uh, uh, the award is called Ratna, Vigyan Ratna, Vigyan Shri and Vigyan Yuva Award, right? So once this came and exactly, so Sadhu Saru Bhattagar as a converted as a Yuva, Vigyan Yuva Rashtriya Puraskar, and then you apply and you think, oh my God, this is such an award you will never get it. You have that feeling always. So I applied it, I forgot about it. I said, I'm not going to get. So what to think? And suddenly one day results come through the email and you get biggest surprise. So that was really definitely it was one of the biggest happening because this is the highest achievement in the science in Indian scenario.
Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award. Shanti Swarup was the first Director General of CSIR. So he was a PhD from Banaras Hindu University, and he was a faculty at Punjab University, Lahore, where he was a chemical engineer, one of the great scientists India had. So these awards are after his name. So he was in 1946 he was the Director General of CSIR. So all these awards are not categories have been changed. So this is the very prestigious award which he has got. So we wish you that you should go to the level of Padam Shri, Padam Bhushan, and up to the Bharat Ratna. So now last question.
So before that, I just want to say why because I just want to share this thought. So you sometimes you get the negative thought process in the system, but once I reach to president in that room, Darbar is called Darbar Hall, where the awards are given, all the Padma Shri and everything. You reach to that. There were 33 participants who received the award that day, and there was none of the person you can say person doesn't actually deserve this award.
No, actually,
Everybody was
it's a
gem of the country.
it's a very
It
fair
was,
selection.
and then you gain your trust back. Okay, people are there who are really fair in the system and they do their job perfectly. And that include the Chandrayaan 3 team award where they have ISRO chief is there, ISRO director is there, their team lead is there. Amazing. This that actually that got the trust back in myself that yes, system is
I
very
can
fair.
vouch for that because I was in the CSR committee who decided the CTJD award. So all the prominent scientists of the IIT, retired director of IIT, and from IIC Bangalore, for 50 people. So they was a committee member, and I was also one of them. So I know I was in the CSR Delhi. So it was a very fair selection, and those people who were in the team, they are no more. Dr. Shri Krishna Joshi.
Yes.
So he is no more. He was very old. Then Dr. Rajinder Kumar from IIC Bengal. So when he walked in, so Joshi said, "Arey doctor sahab, aapko zinda so such a prominent scientist they were. So that is why what you said, I vouch for that. It's a very fair selection.
So next year when the awards come, please give due respect to all the people who are going to receive because
Yes.
this committee is amazing. Amazing. This scrutiny is very very fair, and I really give lot of respect. Even I don't know who are in the committee, but my lot of respect to them for selecting the right people from entire country. There were people from ICER, ISC, ITs, AIMS, amazing people and amazing to see those people in that.
So now we last question because we are because time is running. So as a role model, so what will you advise you to the young women who wants to pursue their career in the science? And we have young people, students also who have joined us. So what is your advice to them?
So recently I visited on Science Day to VJIT Mumbai Engineering College, one of the topmost, and I met lots of young. Then suddenly you realize that you are really old, they are so young. So you see the difference between young and old people. But I want to say one thing that currently the India's status in science and R&D is amazing. You don't have to worry. But yes, we have a lot of competition and competition will be there. because we have billions of the population and we have brilliant minds across. But why we have to look the jobs in India? We have to gain the knowledge and we have to compete with the world. And I think the world is ours. India has a lot of potential and we are going to be to winning this race of not only we are going to be developed country, but we are going to gain a lot of uh, fortunate things which deserve this generation. And there are people, actually currently there are people who are making honest effort in each sector, either it's academy or it's industry or it's a government sector. They have this dream and they are making very, very genuine effort. And I think you don't have to worry, but you have to just do your job, which is the studying, planning your future, and you will get when you want. So I think there is nothing impossible in the life. If you want, you can get it. So thank you, and my all the best wishes to all the young generation who are here today to listen.
Now we will enter with the video clip from the movie Vaccine War.
पिछले 2 सालों में मैंने एक चीज और समझी। पिछले 2 सालों में मैंने एक पिछले 2 सालों में मैंने एक चीज और समझी। भारत देश महान तो है ही, लेकिन भारत के लोग कमाल के हैं, खास तौर पे हमारी महिलाएं। शायद दुनिया ये कभी जान नहीं पाएगी, लेकिन आपको पता होना चाहिए आपके अंदर जो वैक्सीन है इसे बनाने वाली 70% ICMR और NIV की महिलाएं। बच्चों बुजुर्गों की सेवा करते रही, कोई रोया तो उनके आंसू पोंछती रही, कोई बीमार हुआ तो वे काढ़ा बेचती रही, और मेरे जैसे कई लोगों का गुस्सा भी सहती रही, लेकिन डट के वैक्सीन बना दे।
So she is one of the character in that movie. She is played by a professional actor. I think that's something. Okay, so we conclude the meeting. This discussion. Where is me? Okay. When this happens.
Would you like to explain the
So it was basically about the women power and what the role of the ladies in the vaccine development. And in fact, the character played by Nana Patekar, he was Dr. Balram Bhargava. He was a very strict person and he was not at all bothered. If you have seen the movie, you can make it out. If you have not seen it, so at the end, he admits that it's the ladies who have worked it, and they really. So we are really proud of all the women and the ladies who have worked, and also our fellow ladies colleagues, so that they are doing really well. So there is no gender based system. It is what who works hard. It gets the results. So that's what it is.
I can see Rotary is also very equally distributed, so
Yeah,
there is no
yeah.
gender gap here as well.
Yes. So okay. No more comments now. Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Suresh, please remain for some time. Thank you, Dr. Pragya and Dr. Suresh. That was very engaging. I don't think the basic any of you lost your attention during this panel. I hope everybody has got a glimpse of the kind of efforts which go on in the scientific area where we are always combating our enemies which are actually not visible. The danger is towards the smaller side, not the things which you can actually see. So, with this, the house is now open to question and answers. Maybe one or two we can take.
I think I'll be audible. Doctor, I have a question. Post-COVID, it's my observation that earlier one used to get cold and get cured in 7 days with or without medicine. Nowadays, that 7 days has become 17 days. Is it something which is linked to the vaccine which we have taken? Has it impacted our immunity to fight these, common cold kind of things? I want your opinion.
So there's not just one study, but multiple studies, and not thousands in the participating in crores. So there is no such evidence that vaccine is creating such any kind of negative impact on the population. And even for the Covishield, which actually was most controversial, are Pfizer or Moderna, they came up with the proper justification. And for any vaccine or any drugs, actually, there is always the criteria which we said, is it going to benefit the maximum and maybe harm one person, maybe in billion and trillion. So then only acceptance. And the second thing I would like to tell you that the committee which in Indian government, most of the committee members, they were so strict. For example, you remember initially the vaccine was given to the children. The school was closed, and there was so many time people suggested give them booster, but none of the committee members actually agreed ever to give any booster because there was no risk assessment or any such study suggests. So what I'm trying to tell you, the answer of question, that if the vaccine was harmful, who wants to give the vaccine? And everybody who was sitting in the meeting are expert, they all took the vaccine. So if it was harmful, why I would take the vaccine? So no, not at all. So and each vaccine was studies in very highly details. They were not only studies with the Wuhan strain, but they were studied with a different state. And still, though now there is no danger of SARS coronavirus, WHO tag committee still exists. They keep monitoring the changes in the virus, the what is the impact on the community after the vaccine, booster the vaccine. So studies are still going on. But if you say the immunity or other factors, so yes, we have the young generation. There are three observations which I would like to bring to the attention. During the pandemic, when the closed lockdown happened, there was a larger community which did not receive any immunization, especially the young children who are born during the pandemic, or they were very young and they supposed to take. And we could see flare up and outbreaks of rabies, measles, mumps, rubella, which happen in very, very high numbers. Recently, if you have seen the newspaper, US has reported its outbreak after many decades, and it's spreading very widely. So the vaccines from the beginning and now, the trust in vaccine is must because they are supposed to made for saving the life. Their purpose is not to do any harm to the people. But yes, sometimes it can happen that it can be harmful, but most of the time before it come to human being, that's why so many studies, trials, toxicity, and so much actually data screening goes behind before it comes to a common man to give the vaccine. And I'm sure in this process, nobody wants to become a bad character for any gain, either is money or any commercial gain. I don't think it ever drive this agenda. uh, Regarding the India, when we could have taken the Pfizer vaccine easily, though it was very costly vaccine. But there was another challenge with the Pfizer vaccine, which was reflected in this movie that they were not taking any responsibility if something goes wrong with the individual who are taking. So if the vaccine manufacturing is not taking responsibility, how government of India will take the responsibility of a vaccine? And they were not ready to allow for the bridge trial. So whenever we give any product which is not tried in our population, we go for a small study before we give to larger population. And Covishield was actually allowed after the bridge trial happened in India, and the data was safe, immunogenicity was good, and nobody has any harm. So this kind of process is in the place, and DCGI rules regulation, they are very very strict. Being part of many DCGI committee, they will make 99.9% of kind of efforts not to approve any product itself. So it's a very difficult to get any product approval unless and if you really deserve to that. Even forget about vaccine, for a diagnostic kit, they never give approval. In the past, complete 3 meetings, 4 meetings, 5 meetings, unless they get complete data, they would never agree to it. So it's not easy process to get approval and come to you any products. That's why I want to just assure you that. Thank you.
If I have a time, can I quote something?
Yes,
President.
yes.
So it's a quote from Benjamin Franklin, founder father of the United States. So in his autobiography, he has written, in 1736, I lost one of my sons, a fine 4-year boy, because by chickenpox, smallpox. I long regretted bitterly, and I still regret that I have not given him by inoculation. I mention this for the sake of parents who omit that operation on supposition that they will never forgive themselves if the child died under it. So my regret showing the regret is shows the regret is the same either way. So safer should be children.
No, I will.
Yeah.
My question is with your reference, you say there is a standardization when they approve the vaccine. So when Covishield came and Covaxin came, several international airports did not accept the Covaxin. I was one of the sufferers. And not only that, when I went to US back, they forced me into a chamber and took me a Pfizer booster. And they did not accept the Covishield also. Now why these differences were happening?
It's very a multiple question. So Covaxin initially when we started, so it was given in January 21, the approval to roll out, but we did not get a WHO approval. And the international borders were only approving those vaccines which was given WHO in emergency use licensing. So that was a challenge, and that's why India made efforts, and finally we got in 21 November in Covaxin approval from. And for that actually, after the phase 3 trial, which was one of the biggest phase trial, they did not accept the vaccine data. They asked for the vaccine effectiveness. So we have to run more study. We did further vaccine effectiveness study, and we also raised lot of data for Covishield within the country against different variant of concern, and finally it was approval. But in spite of that, European Union did not accept even after that also because they. So there is a problem that USA. So many countries do accept the UL given by WHO, but European Union requires further approval of their own organization. So there was a lot of bureaucracy in the approval also,
So
and that we have
every
to fight
country
that.
has their own regulatory
Exactly.
body, and you have to register and you have to comply to their norms. So you cannot just go and sell your product in any country unless until it is
Why
registered.
there is no standardization?
No, so there are different countries, different norms. So you have to comply with all. Even the northern countries like South African countries, so which are very poor, but they also raise their all the regulatory norms. So we keep on saying that. So they don't have money to eat, but they want a high standard vaccine. So that is there.
So
So
why
is the,
is
when the
because
Kenya and all those countries.
most of the time when it comes to the health becomes is a subject of that particular nation. And if, for example, India wanted to do something, some lockdown or some particular strategy, then nobody can stop them to do it. So that's actually every sovereignty have that authority, but mostly the WHO, US supposed to work across the country, and which actually work, except in some places. So that also, so this problem which you raised actually was also highlighted in this movie, because we never had such a pandemic where you require to raise vaccine, you have to travel, and we never has gone so much travel. Now how much travel we do as a Indian citizen, everybody I think traveling once in a twice in abroad, and we every month we go to other states. So the travel has increased, the demands have increased, and this problem, which was never actually realized, now we realize this problem. So there is a lot of talk when Soumya Swaminathan was as a scientist in WHO. There was a major issue which was raised by her that how we make these South Africa and other country to make the production of vaccine and transfer the messenger RNA technology become nightmare as a very very high level when we talk about the sharing, collaboration, and all this. Yes, so these are lot of challenges which exist and we need to address it.
So those who has visited Serum Institute, they can understand the type of infrastructure you require to make the vaccine. So it is just not an easy, because there was a question raised in the parliament also. So one person, again, I don't want to discuss, but he said you can give technology to any pharmaceutical company. No, but it requires different setup. So to create the setup, it takes a couple of years. It's just not today you start and 3 months you are ready with the construction. So you need to have a setup. So now sometimes we use multi-product facility. We switch over from one product to another, and we use disposable gadgets. So even the vessels we use, they are disposable. They are polypropylene bags, 1,000 liters. So we prepare everything then, and then it goes for the shredding. So this is how we can use one facility for multiple purposes. So you need a big setup. It is not easy. You can just in a day or two.
Thank you. Friends,
Yeah.
I think we are running behind time, so okay, we have time for one last quick question and quick answer. And after that, we will, Dr. Pragnya will be available over dinner, so you all can have your queries there. So, Geeta.
Yeah, Dr. Pragya, my question is in a different line. So in the movie, it was shown that you all had to work day in and day out with a tight target, tight schedule. So the question is, how did you manage your domestic responsibilities at that time? Because we ladies, by default, are responsible for both the areas. How did you tackle that?
So I did not manage anything at domestic pet. My mother-in-law, who is with me today, so she is the one actually. She managed entire domestic thing, and I was not home. And Kanal Sajja was also posted. Yes. So my father-in-law, mother-in-law, they manage the home front, and we manage our work front. So that's how we manage. So great salute to the both of you.
Big regards.
Thank you.
So, friends, the President would now like to welcome your family. I request you to please rise in the place where you are standing. Mr. Yadav, Nirmala Yadav, mother-in-law, and the son, Devansh. We also have one more guest amongst us.
I would like to welcome the name that we all have heard multiple times, Dr. Sai from ISER, who also is another Bhatnagar awardee.
So, I think after this session, many of us will go back and watch the movie Vaccine War. And now you can relate the on-screen heroes with the actual life heroes who are amongst us. So friends, we now move to the last part of today's evening, and that is recognition. Every year, the Rotary Club of Pune Sports City recognizes eminent professionals who have made outstanding contributions to society through their excellence in work or excellence in service to the society. These awards are known as Rotary Excellence Recognition Award. They are under two categories. One is for service to the community, and the other one is for achieving excellence in your vocation. So this year we are proud to confer the Vocational Excellence Recognition Award upon Rotarian Pragnya. She is now a member of our committee.